Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video I will show you how to consume web API into AngularJS to insert records SQL Server database. And here we got the output of that HTML code. The header tags consume web API into AngularJS to insert record into SQL Server database. The text box controls enter the name, email ID and salary, and button control. Let's insert the name charan@gmail.com, and salary is 12345. Now before insert the record, let's check in the database table. The table name is employee. When I execute, and here we got the results of this employee table. Right now this employee table contains 0 rows. Let's insert the records. Insert. And here we got the alert message, the record Charan is inserted successfully. Click OK. Let's check in the database table. I'm executing the table, employee table again. Execute. So here we got the Charan details is inserted successfully. We have implemented the consume web API into AngularJS to insert the records into SQL Server database. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. For this video tutorial, I am creating a new web API application. Go to File, New, Project, and from the web templates I am selecting ASP.NET Web Application, and the .NET Framework I am using 4.6.1. The application name is Web API Insert AngularJS is a project name. Click OK. And from the ASP.NET templates I'm selecting Web API. Click OK. And the project is created successfully. Let's close this default window. Open Solution Explorer. Now in this project I am implementing AngularJS functionality to consume the web API. In MVC web API, by default the Angular application is not installed. If you notice here in the scripts folder, there is no any AngularJS files. We got only jQuery files. So first let's install the AngularJS. I click the project name, manage NetJet packages, go to browse and search for AngularJS, and from the search results I'm selecting the first option. Click install. Click OK. And notice in the Solution Explorer the AngularJS files are installing. And AngularJS is installed successfully into our project. Notice there is a green tick mark. Let's close this NetJet package window. After install the AngularJS into our project, and now let's add the ADO.NET Entity Data Model. I click the project name, add ADO.NET Entity Data Model, select that one. Let's give the model name is add record. Okay. And from the model contents I'm selecting the first option. Click next. Let's create a new SQL Server connection. New connection. I'm adding my SQL Server name, user PC SQL Express. After adding SQL Server name, now I'm selecting the database name. New DB is the database. Test connection is succeeded. OK. OK. And here we got the connection string, and the connection string name is a new DB entities, and I'm saving this connection string in the web.config file. Click next. Now let's select the table from the selected database object. I'm expanding the tables folder as well as DBO. The table is the employee table. I'm selecting that one. Click finish. and here the entity model employee is added to our project. Now after adding the entity model, we open Solution Explorer. Let's minimize this references folder. Now in the controllers folder, let's add the web API controller. Right click the controllers folder, add controller. I'm selecting web API 2 controller empty, add. The controller name is insert record, add. And here we got our web API controller, which is the insert REC record. Now in this web API controller, public HTTP action result, insert record. In this insert record method, I'm adding the table name, which is the employee. EMP is an object. Now in this action result, I'm adding my connection string name, which is a new DB entities. ND is equals to new DB entities. After that, ND dot employees dot add method. Now in this add method, I'm adding the employee entity, which is the EMP. Copy this one and paste here. I'm adding that one. After that, after adding the records, then I want to save nd.save changes method, return OK method. And this OK method, the record emp dot emp name is inserted successfully. That's it. We have implemented to insert the records in web API. Now before adding the AngularJS functionality to consume this web API, first we'll get this web API URL, Google Chrome, and here we got the output of the project, which is a default home page. Now we require the web API. After the localhost, the domain name / I'm adding the API. The API controller name is insert REC record. Let's add that one. Enter. And here we got the results of this web API URL. Is showing some error message. The requested resource does not support HTTP method get, because we are posting the data, we are inserting the data into SQL Server database. So don't worry about this error message, we just require this URL. So let's switch back to the coding part again. Stop debugging. Now let's consume this web API into AngularJS. For that, I am adding the simple HTML page to our project. Open Solution Explorer, right click the project name, add. I'm adding the HTML page. The HTML page name is new record insert. Is the web page name. Click OK. Here we got our HTML page. Right now this page contains a simple HTML5 code. Now between this body tag, I'm adding div tag. Inside this div, I'm adding the HTML elements. In our table, we have 4 columns: EMP ID, EMP name, email and salary. So the EMP ID is an auto-generated column, so I'm not adding this one. I'm adding these 3 columns: EMP name, email and salary. Input type is equals to text. Placeholder, enter the name. Let's close this one. Break. After the input type is equals to text, placeholder, The place one next one is the email and salary. Enter email ID, break, input type is equals to text, placeholder is equals to enter salary, break. After that I'm adding the simple button control. Input type is equals to button, ID is equals to but click, and the value of the button is equals to insert. Let's close the button control. I'm adding this div tag, center tag, between the center tag. I'm closing this center tag. After the div, I'm adding the headers, consume web API into AngularJS to insert record. Web API tutorials. After that I'm adding horizontal line. That's it, we have added the designing part. We got the header text, 3 text box controls and 1 button control. Now let's implement the AngularJS between the header section of Web Solution Explorer. Let's add this AngularJS, drag and drop between the header section. After that, let's add the script. Variable app is equals to Angular variable app is equals to Angular dot module is a method, and this module method first parameter is a string name. My app is the Angular application name, comma. The second parameter the array requires. So I'm adding the array. Semicolon. App.controller is a method which takes 2 parameters. First one is a name, which is a string, so it's my controller, comma, and the callback definition is a function $scope dot comma $http. Now between curly braces I'm adding $scope. I'm adding the function add new record is a function name is equals to function now in this function I'm declaring a variable button click is equals to document dot get element by ID. The element of ID of the button click, which is a butt click, let's add that one. Dot get attribute is a value. This value property name I'm adding. If button click is equals to, between double quotes I'm adding the value insert $scope dot, I'm adding the web API employee emp, this object name here is equals to curly braces semicolon $scope dot emp dot. The column names, the first one is a emp name is equals to $scope dot emp name, and this emp name semicolon I'm adding in the text box element ng-model is equals to emp name. The next One is $scope dot emp dot email is equals to $scope dot email semicolon. Let's add this email here also, and model email, and the last one model is equals to this one for the salary, $scope dot emp dot salary is equals to $scope dot salary. Let's add this salary here. So after that, $stp method colon between single quotes I'm adding post. I'm posting the data URL column between single quotes. Let's add our web URL address, which is this one. Copy this one and paste here, comma, data colon JSON dot string file is a method. I'm adding the value this scope dot emp semicolon dot then function. In this function I'm adding the object result semicolon. Friends, here we don't require semicolon. Here we require semicolon. Now in this function result I'm adding the alert message, alert result dot data. The message will be the message in this alert box is displaying this one. The record, the employee name is inserted successfully is the alert message. Once the record is inserted successfully, I want to clear the text box controls. So the values we are entering from the text box control here is name is equals to empty, and the second one $scope dot email, copy this one and paste here, semicolon, $scope dot salary, copy this one and paste here, semicolon. That's it. We have consumed the web API into this AngularJS functionality. Now we'll add the function name ng-click is equals to, let's add the function name add new record as a method, and in the div I'm adding ng-app direct to my app is the Angular application name, ng-controller is equals to, I'm adding the controller name, my controller. That's it. We have done the complete coding part. We consumed the web API into this AngularJS application. Let's check the results. Google Chrome. And here we got the output of that HTML code. The header tags consume web API into AngularJS to insert record into SQL Server database. The text box controls enter the name, email ID and salary, and button control. Let's insert the name Charan at gmail.com, and salary is 12345. Now before insert the record, let's check in the database table. The table name is employee. When I execute, and here we got the results of this employee table. Right now this employee table contains 0 rows. Let's insert the records, insert, and here we got the alert message, the record Charan is inserted successfully. Click OK. Let's check in the database table. I'm executing the table, employee table again, execute. So here we got the Charan details is inserted successfully. We have implemented the Consume Web API into AngularJS to insert the records into SQL Server database.